Wasabi gangsters. All right. Real Darth Revan lightsaber here. No big deal. It's a tripod also. We're going to functionally set this up, as always. All right. Give me a second. I was unprepared, obviously. Okay, so it's Monday, right? I usually do these on Friday, but I went away this weekend. Well, not really away, but last 2 weekends I've been going places. But that's beside the point. I actually didn't record on Friday because I was in the midst of the very ends of the 2 books I was reading. And so without a real good update, I wanted to just take the time to read and get to you. So here we are on Monday with a little weekly reading update. And then at the end, we'll go through a little writing update. So I finished The Stand by Stephen King. Okay. Awesome book. Absolutely loved it. I don't love Trash Can Man. Guy's hilarious. And at the end of the day, he subverted expectations. Stephen King did every step of the way. And it was an awesome ultimate journey with a lot of emotional notes, rhythmic notes that just kind of like hit you in the feels at different points. Very, very good book. 5-star book. Easily a top 10 book. Like easily. Very long, and I would say it was a slog, except for the fact that it wasn't. But there were parts that if you, like without context, you'd be like, oh, this is a slog. But it just wasn't. So it's hard to say, because it's just a very long book, but every little detail mattered in the end, and it was worth it. It was really worth the journey. It was good, very good book. And now I can continue my Gunslinger read as I go. I think Drawing of the Three is next. But I was told I needed to read this before I read The Gunslinger, but I read The Gunslinger. I was like, okay, I dig Stephen King's fiction. Let's go back to The Stand, and then now I'm going to get into Drawing of the Three. So that was the first book I finished. The second book I finished last night was Red Sky Morning, Jack Carr. This one I was hoping to beam through a bit faster. Usually these political thrillers I can kind of like tear through just because the pacing of them is kind of wild, but I think I was overthinking when I was reading this. It's probably my least favorite of all of his books. That said, it was still very good. Like the ending was... These kinds of books, there's the rising action, what gets our character James Reese back into it, right? What gets James Reese back into the action? And typically with political thrillers, it's like, we need you back. And I think the character's unique enough that... the reluctance of him is kind of, without giving anything away, it's rooted in his love of family. And that's probably one of the cooler aspects of the character of James Reese, and that's what makes it unique. The ending of this one was very, very good. This one was very reminiscent of like a James Bond film for me, which I love. Like all the other books actually weren't, oddly enough, but and James Reese is not James Bond by any means, but in the author note at the end, he even says that it was heavily inspired by some of the James Bond novels that were written early on, which makes perfect sense, because I was like, oh yeah, I mean, there were some notes in here where I'm like, this sounds like Casino Royale. This sounds, like something Bond would do something differently at this time, but it sounds like something he would be presented with, I'm drinking toasted almond Sayville bean coffee ground into a drip carafe. It is fantastic. Excuse my slurping. But yes, I love this book. Ultimately, I would say The Stand was a 5-star read, for sure. And I'm not very good at giving ratings, but I would say that this is probably like a 3.75. You can convince me it's a 4. But yeah, I loved it. Again, my least favorite of all of his novels, considering one of them is like in the top 10 book of all time for me. The Stand surpassed it just simply because of the like scope of The Stand and just the themes. Everything about it was just awesome. Okay, so now we're going to kind of move into, well, before I do that, let me just talk about real quick. Volume 2 of Berserk. Have not made it anywhere here. This is still, I did watch a few episodes of the show, the 1997 version, but that was my only progress with this. I'm probably gonna kick back up this week because I've missed it, I just was really heavy into these other reads this week because I was so close to finishing them. I was like 80% on Thursday, and I was like, I gotta finish The Stand. And then Terminalist or Red Sky Morning, I was like, I really gotta finish it. Also the title, very James Bondy, Red Sky Morning. But yes, so I haven't made any progress here. I've gotten a little bit more into the Golden Age on the show, and there's like some overlap now I'm starting to see as I'm going through this. Still in love with it, just haven't quite had the time to put into it. So to my next physical read I'm going to go into is Robert Harris's Imperium. Alan from the Library of Alexandria. This is his favorite book of all time, apparently. So I wanted to give it a whirl. It's like a nice, 300-page read. And I was like, this is a perfect physical read. And then as far as my next Kindle read we're going into, I'm not going to read the back here, but just it's Roman political, almost like historical fiction. Almost, probably just is historical fiction. And then I have Tales of the Sun Eater, Volume 1, which I'm reading currently. There it is in the white screen, yep. So I'm going to read through those. I got a little bit into the first story last night after I finished the Terminal List. I also picked up Rob J. Hayes' Age of the God Eater Herald, simply because I want to read it. But this is just like a book I picked up. I'm not going to read that right now. I'm going to probably put that off. I'm going to do Riven Earth first. So my physical read is going to be Robert Harris, Imperium, and then my Kindle read is going to be Riven Earth by Zammar Amer. I probably said that wrong, but I've been looking forward to picking this one up. It came out as a duology. The second one, I believe, comes out next week. So I wanted to get into it. Again, it's like a good 400-page read or so. So that's going to be this puppy here, Riven Earth, Zammar Amer. I have the physical copy. It's just being used as my tripod right now. Okay, so physical read, boom. Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 1 is a Kindle read plus Riven Earth after I finish up probably Tales of the Sun Eater and The Exile by Ryan Cahill. After I finish those two, I'm going to get into Riven Earth. And then I picked up a couple of other physical books. I picked up A Fortress in Shadow, Chronicles of the Dread Empire by Glen Cook. I saw a video. Oh gosh, I can't shout him out. I forgot. If you just look up Glen Cook, Chronicles of the Dread Empire, there's a guy who has a whole video that he read all of these books. Dang, I'll have to shout him out this week on Friday. But I'm a big Steven Erikson fan, so I wanted to pick up the Dread Empire before I even start the Black Company. And they say to start with books 4 and 5. The gentleman who told me to read this, who actually suggested to read Dread Empire in general, to start with books 4 and 5, and this is books 4 and 5. Like, this is a 370-page book right here, and it's 2 books into 1 copy. And then I also picked up the first 3 books of the same series, A Cruel Wind. I love these covers. This artwork is phenomenal. And this is the first 3 books. It's like 600 some odd pages for the first 3 books of Dread Empire. So I'm going to be getting into Dread Empire probably after I finish Imperium. I'm going to determine my next physical read later because I do want to get back into Midnight Tide. So I might go Tales of the Sun Eater and all the Sun Eater books, The Exile, Riven Earth, and then go back into Midnight Tides for my Malazan read, so I can get back to that world just because I miss it. And if I'm doing that, my physical reads, I can get into Dread Empire, which I'm looking to get into pretty severely. But I feel like reading them side by side with Malazan will be pretty challenging. So that's it for my reading update. And then as far as my novel update, you guys can click off if you don't care about the fantasy book I'm writing. First book right now, 227,000 words still. I believe I'm going to start looking for beta readers. I probably should have done this earlier, but I'm going to go on Goodreads and find some beta readers. If any of you guys want to beta read this, just leave a message down below in the comments, and then maybe we can be in touch, and I can send it your way, and I can get some feedback. That'd be very helpful. It's dark fantasy. And then book 2, we are 73,000 words deep currently. Gonna put some more work into that today. Stories unfolding. It's awesome. I love it. and I can't wait to talk about it more with people. Like, I wrote the first book in a year. It was like a May 2023 to May 2024 situation, right? Yeah, that it took me to like get it to a point where it was like done. My word count was done before the end of 2023. But like as far as polishing and everything, it took another like 5 months to get everything going. So it's exciting. And this book seems to be following a pretty similar trajectory as far as book 2 is concerned. I should be done with the word count by hopefully the end of September. My goal was December, so I have a little leeway there. And then the polish and everything, I'll start getting that done before I send off book 1 to developmental editors. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Please leave your comments below of what you were reading, what you just finished reading, what you were listening to. Oh, also what I'm listening to, Beowulf. But I'm getting into probably Red Country next or Dark Age. I got to decide. If you guys think I should read Red Country, Joe Abercrombie, if you made it to the end of this video and you want to vote on what I read on Audible next, we're picking between Red Country, Joe Abercrombie, to continue my first law read, or Dark Age by Pierce Brown to continue my Red Rising read. Thanks guys so much for watching, and I'll see you Friday.